Hi everyone, welcome back to Tech Booth. Today I'm doing a video that's a bit different. I just got myself this gimbal stabilizer thing, the Weebil-S, and I've never personally used a stabilizer, even though I do a lot of handheld shooting, but I've never used a stabilizer. I've never put one together. So today I'm going to see how long it takes for someone who's never used a stabilizer, who's never put it together. How long does it take for them to open this, read the instructions, and put it all together? And you're going to go along with me on this journey. And then I'm going to start using it for more of my shoots. How long does it take to put this together? In the box you get the gimbal, a tripod, you get your quick release plate, you also get a riser, 2 batteries, the battery charger, you get 3 screws, and then you get a number of camera control cables, USB-C to USB firmware upgrade cable. Okay, so I have a timer here. I'm going to start it and let's go. So it looks like I finally got it set up and balanced, and now all I need to do is to power it on by holding down this switch at the side, and yeah, whew, that took me almost an hour, like 56 minutes. The first thing you want to do is to install your tripod, and this tripod goes at the bottom for this setup, this initial setup, because we need the gimbal to be upright as we are setting up. Next, we want to go right here and open this bottom latch to reveal the battery compartment and install our batteries for the gimbal. Make sure the polarity is correct, and then you close this up. Next, we get our quick release plate and one of the screws from this packet, and you want to screw this in from the bottom of your release plate until it goes all the way and it can move up and down that rail. Next step is to get your camera, attach this to the bottom, make sure the lens support is at the front. Now, before we attach this camera to the gimbal, we want to make sure that it is in the state that you're going to be using it in. And by that I mean you have your memory card installed, you have your battery installed, you've removed your lens cap. Anything that will affect the weight and weight distribution of this camera, make sure it is attached, and anything that needs to be removed is removed. For us to be able to install the camera, we need to unlock each axis like this, move this clockwise, and then lock it so that when you turn it back, it locks in the installation position. You do the same for the other axis. So the unlock button is at the back here. You unlock it so that it's free, and then you move it up like this and lock it again so that when it drops, it drops into this installation position. For you to be able to store this and transport it, you need to put it in the other lock position. So I unlock this, move it to storage lock position. I also unlock this and move it to that position and lock it. And now the gimbal is locked for storage. So the next thing we want to do is to install our camera. And for us to do that, there is this locking mechanism latch at the side. And you also have this pin that you need to push in for the quick release plate to slide in. And all you do is slide your camera in place like that, and then you lock it. The next thing you want to do now is to balance the gimbal. So the gimbal works by dampening the motion of your camera as you are moving in 3 axes. One of them is called the tilt axis, so it balances or it dampens the movement of your camera going up and down. It also balances the movement of the camera on its axis like this. This is called the roll axis. And then finally, it controls what is called the pan axis. That is the movement of the camera from left to right. So what you need to do is to balance these 3 axes so that when the camera is installed and you are moving around, it remains level regardless of how you are moving. Balancing is simple but tedious. To balance your camera, you unlock each axis one at a time. So we start off with this tilt axis. I just hold the camera so that it doesn't just fall. I unlock and you can see now it's free to move. Right now when I let go, it is falling forward. And so what we need to do is move the camera backwards. The rule is, whichever way the camera is moving, you want to move in the opposite direction to balance the forces. So right now it's falling forward. I want to move the camera backwards. And I do this by just unlatching, release that latch while holding onto the camera, and then move it backwards a little at a time until it's not falling forward. And as you get closer to the balance point, small movements make a difference. So that seems good enough. To finish the tilt adjustment, move your camera up like this and then loosen this thumb screw on this side close to the motor. And because our camera is falling forward, we want to make an adjustment backwards in the opposite direction. So you want to move this camera backwards along this rail, small adjustments at a time. So you make that adjustment, let go, it's still falling forward. So I keep moving this back like this, loosen this, keep moving this back until, and there you go. So now I lock this. And I can put it back this way. And we're done with that axis. So the next thing we want to adjust would be our roll axis. So I'm going to loosen the roll axis, and you can see the camera is rolling that way. So what I need to do is loosen the bottom. Here is the thumb latch that allows this to move along this rail. So I loosen this and move my camera along the rail in the opposite direction to where it was falling. Keep moving. and I think we have it. So we've balanced the two axes. Now we're left with one, the pan axis. So what we want to do is to keep this unlocked. I unlock the pan axis and then move this into this position, and now you see our camera is falling forward. The camera is falling forward, so we want to unlock this axis and just move camera forwards and backwards until it's level with the ground. That looks about right. So once it's level, you just lock your thumb screw and you are done. So now when I loosen all the axes, we should be able to move this camera in any direction and it will stay in position, just like that. Then power it on. Any position you move it, the camera is level. So even though it took me an hour to do the first time, once you get the hang of it, it doesn't take that long. The only thing that takes time is balancing your gimbal. It's just tedious but not difficult.